Hey, welcome. So, you know how every new year kicks off with this big burst of motivation? Well, what if this time it could actually be different? What if 2026 wasn't just another year you kind of get through? We're going to dive into how you can really rewire your thinking for a genuine breakthrough. Does this look familiar? I mean, you set these huge goals, you're all fired up, but then somewhere around March, maybe April, you find yourself slipping right back into the same old patterns. It is so frustrating, right? Feeling like you're just reliving the same year over and over again, just with a new number on the calendar. And this really gets to the heart of it. The difference between a year of real, tangible progress and a year of just spinning your wheels, it's usually not about needing more discipline or working harder. No, it's about thinking differently. It's all about that invisible script that's running in the back of your head. Right. So if we're going to change that script, we first have to actually read it. We have to understand what it says. And that brings us to our first section, figuring out these invisible rules that are secretly running the show. And the name for these rules is limiting beliefs. Just think of them as these deep-seated assumptions that act like an invisible fence around your potential. They feel like solid facts, but really they're just stories we've told ourselves, or that others have told us, that dictate what we think we can and cannot do. Do any of these sound familiar? You know, things like, oh, I'm just not good with money, or I always start strong but I never finish anything. These phrases, they start to feel true just because we've repeated them so many times. They become our personal, invisible rules that can sabotage our efforts before we even get started. And here's why this is so important right now. The world is changing fast. Trying to get through 2026 using a mental map from, say, 2016, well, that's a recipe for feeling completely overwhelmed and totally stuck. It's time to upgrade our internal software. So, the big question is, how do we actually do that? How do we upgrade? Well, good news, there's a process. Let's move on to section 2, the 4-step mindset shift. Okay, the framework here is actually pretty simple. It's a really logical progression. First, you've got to identify the belief. Then you question it. After that, you replace it with something better. And finally, and this is key, you reinforce that new belief with action. Let's break each of these down. So step 1, this is where you become a detective of your own thoughts. Just look at the areas in your life where you feel stuck and ask yourself these questions. Where am I constantly procrastinating? What goals do I have that feel exciting but also kind of impossible? What are the excuses I hear myself saying over and over? The answers to these questions point you right to the beliefs you need to put under the microscope. Okay, so once you found a belief, you don't fight it. That's not the goal. You get curious about it. You question it. You ask, is this belief 100% true, with no exceptions? Where did I even learn this from? Was it a parent, a teacher, one bad experience? And this last one is so powerful. Who would I be if I didn't have this belief? It really shows you how much mental space it's taking. Now, this is crucial. Your brain really does not like a vacuum. You can't just delete a belief and leave a blank space. You have to replace it. And look at the shift here. Instead of a dead-end statement like, I'm bad at consistency, you switch to something like, I'm learning to build systems that support consistency. See that? You go from a fixed negative label to one that's all about growth and possibility. And finally, step 4. This is really where the magic happens. Beliefs don't change because we want them to. They change when we have evidence. You have to give your brain actual proof that the new belief is true. And we're not talking about huge, monumental leaps here. It's all about small, consistent wins. Every single time you work on a goal for just 10 minutes or finish one small task completely, it's like a vote for your new identity. You're building a case. All right, so with that framework in our back pocket, let's put it to work on some of the most common beliefs people drag into a new year. Welcome to section 3, beliefs to leave behind. First up, the classic perfectionist trap. I need to be 100% ready before I can start. The reframe here is huge. It's realizing that readiness isn't something you wait for, it's something you create. Readiness is a result of taking action, not a requirement for it. Action is what builds clarity and confidence, not the other way around. And now for the big one, the fear of failure. So many of us are taught to see failure as this final judgment on our abilities, but this reframe, it changes everything. Failure is not a verdict on who you are. It's just data. It's feedback. It's your compass telling you what to adjust for your next attempt. That's it. Oh man, and this one trips up so many people. We think that to change our lives, we need this massive, dramatic, overnight overhaul. But that's so intimidating, and it almost never works. The truth is, real, lasting change happens quietly. It's the result of tiny, tiny shifts that compound day after day after day. It's not an explosion, it's a slow burn. And all of this, it's all leading to a much deeper idea. This isn't just about changing a few habits, it's about upgrading your entire identity. Which brings us to our final section. Just look at the subtle but incredibly powerful shift in the question we ask ourselves. Normally, we focus on the what. What are the goals? What do I want to achieve? But the much more powerful question is who. Who is the kind of person that naturally achieves those things? What do they believe about themselves? That person, that is the real target. Because when your internal beliefs finally match the identity you are stepping into, your actions just start to align automatically. You stop fighting yourself all the time. Progress stops feeling like this constant uphill battle and starts to feel, well, inevitable. So when you boil it all down, it comes back to this simple, powerful logic. You don't start by chasing a different outcome. You start one level deeper. You start with the belief. You change the belief first, which makes it easier to change your actions. And of course, those new actions are what create the new outcome. And that leaves us with one final question for you to take with you. Forget about a long list of resolutions this year. Just focus on one thing. What is the single most impactful belief that, if you were to change it, would completely redefine what's possible for you in 2026?